During a trip through time, the Legends were forced to land the Waverider in Blue Valley, Nebraska, where they discovered a young superhero.
Yes.
About to take flight.
That's cool.
Who are you?
I'm Stargirl.
Hello, Legendaires. Welcome back to Tomorrow's Legends. We are covering the first season of Stargirl, and we're on episode 7, Shiv, part 1. I am not the shark in the water, Flash.
And I'm going to steal that sword from the broom basket, Harley Quinn.
You are you?
That's right.
Jeez, you with a sword instead of a hammer. That's a scary thought. Scary thought.
Yeah. But that sword has me excited.
So we're going to call it out right here. Jeff Childs, you are correct, good sir. On your guess as to what the mistake was, we are not going to reveal it just yet. In case anyone else noticed it, we'll give it another week, see if anyone else can figure out what the mistake was the first few episodes. And you are first, though. You do get the credit of being the first one to figure it out.
Good work.
And now, here are your hosts, the fleet-footed Flash and his hammer-swinging partner, Harley Quinn. We interrupt this podcast for a special report.
Yes, we're going to jump right into some news because there actually is some news, and thanks to our fans, everyone was jumping on it right away and letting us know, making sure we knew so we could talk about it. There has been a awesome, I guess it's awesome, I don't know, but Stargirl was renewed for season 2. Yay!
Yay! I think that's awesome.
I think it's awesome. I mean, that's what we were wondering and hoping for, because apparently, and I was looking at the statistics, Stargirl so far to date has 1.2 million viewers or something per episode. It averaged out to 1.2 million viewers, which is a lot more than Legends is getting, and I think more than the other shows have been getting too. I think it is their highest viewed superhero show for this round of seasons.
I think it is. It's definitely higher than Legends. It's like twice the amount that Legends was getting. I think at our highest we averaged, a 0.77 or something.
Yeah.
So we're shy of 1 million by a good bit. So yeah, I mean, I think it's good news. I'm excited. I'll give the CW a chance. I know that's the most controversial bit of this news, is that it's exclusively on the CW.
Yes, that is. And you say controversial because people were all over our Facebook page talking about it. Everyone's got different opinions. Yeah. But it seems like the common denominator is no one is happy that it's going to CW exclusively, because people are worried about two things. Number one, budget. Yep. We know the CW doesn't have the money, so what's going to happen to our show? Are we going to all of a sudden lose all of our special effects, or is it going to just start looking worse? And two is, we know the CW keeps, they focus on relationships and all this romantic stuff, and it takes away from all of our superhero stories and all this stuff, because all the romance just gets in the way. And people are concerned that with it being on the CW, is Courtney now suddenly going to have a boyfriend and going to have to deal with all that high school teen romance angst, all that crap. And that I have to agree. I am concerned about all of that as well.
I am too. So something has sort of not just occurred to me, but this is what I've been thinking about. Like, just because it's airing on the CW, does the DCU still own the rights? And so maybe just because like CW's airing it, they'll still like get a say in the creative, which means they could kick in budget dollars? Or is it really truly like a quote CW show? I don't know that the news article has been clear on that.
No, they have not given away a lot of details, so we're not sure. And I guess we'll keep an eye on it and let you guys know as we find out too. So, but there's things to be worried about. Let's be hopeful that it doesn't. Maybe they realize what's making this show successful and, giving them that many viewers. I mean, that's just the CW numbers, 1.2 million. They didn't even include the people that are streaming it off a DC Universe. So
right, which is probably a good bit more, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so it's doing well. So we'll have to see. And then there is no information on when season 2 will come to us, how many episodes there's going to be. Nothing like that has been released yet. So all that stuff will trickle out eventually.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on it and present any Stargirl or Legends news that starts to pop up.
Yeah, the only other Legends bit, I should have looked at her Facebook page before I got to this. Somebody posted a link to an interview with the showrunners of Legends, and they were talking about what's coming forth in the new season, and they were saying it's going to be pretty rough for Sarah and Ava, because they're no longer just girlfriends; they're in a serious relationship. They're kind of at the married stage now. They were saying, and it's going to be trouble. Sarah's not going to be back right away. She's going to get her own separate storyline with wherever it is she is, whatever dimension or alien planet, wherever she is. She's going to have her own separate storyline for a little while.
Interesting. Okay, yeah,
And
we were speculating about that.
Yeah, and of course, for them being apart, can Ava lead the team? Can Sarah deal with things on her own? We know she can. We know Ava's able to lead the team now. So those are the stories they're going to be pursuing for the next season. So a little bit more info there.
Interesting. I think that could be interesting development for, I don't know, for their relationship for sure, but even like for the show, it'll be a very different dynamic. We've not had one of our main characters really on Legends just really off doing their own thing, which is what we're about to get. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe it's drawing on Arrow. I mean, we've seen Oliver off on his own doing his own thing while the rest of the team's doing stuff, or even just with his flashbacks, it was all about Oliver. So
true.
Maybe it'll be a bit of a feeling like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. All right. And there you go. That's what we got for news for you. Now, again, just want to remind everyone about our Patreon, and thank you to everybody that has signed on to support the show. We just sent a private message to our patrons to say thanks. So if you guys haven't checked that out yet or got the notification, just go in there and you'll see there's a little audio message from us to you. And hoping we'll get some responses to that, because we do ask you about a couple things. Let us know. So for the rest of our listeners, if you would like to support the show, we would so appreciate it. And this is what you got to do.
If you'd like to support our podcast, you can do so at our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/tomorrowslegends.
All right, let's get into this episode. Shiv, part 1. What did you think?
Oh, let's get into it. Yes. Okay, I gave this episode 9 cliffhangers that aren't really a cliffhanger. Because, I mean, come on, let's be real. We all know she isn't dead. But I'm hoping she's actually learned a lesson or two, because she really needed to. So I'm hoping this, I don't know if it's a, quote, near-death experience. They sort of made it seem like it was, but I don't really know. So hopefully she'll learn a little bit about this. And man, some big reveals this episode. Was not expecting any of the stuff that happened with Cindy. Her dad is... I'm just going to go out and say it. Like, I got to get all this out here. Her dad is the Dragon King, and she's some sort of supervillain herself with, like, these crazy regenerative abilities. Like, what? It was not in a million years expecting that. Like, I expected they would turn her into a villain of sorts, but not this strong of a connection to the ISA. Like, not at all. Like, I thought this was crazy. So... in my opinion, season is moving right along. We're all caught up. The new show airs tomorrow, so I'm really excited. And I think it's going to go up from here. So I don't know. What did you think about it? I'm really excited.
Yeah, I am there with you. I give it an 8 messed up villain kids.
Nice.
Because, geez, there's no shortage of killing in this town.
Seriously.
And no shortage of nasty people doing it. Cindy turns out exactly as I suspected, but man, is she nastier than I thought she might even be. She has no care or concern for anyone but herself. I mean, not even for her dad. She just doesn't give a damn. Now that makes a scary villain. So what we've got 2 villains here. We've got a cool, calm, and collected bad guy in Icicle, and then the crazy from hell psycho nut villain in Cindy. So those 2 together give us 2 completely opposite ends of the spectrum of what a villain can be. And our team is going to have to deal with them both. So it's scary. I mean, when you think of Icicle and how awesome he is, but how smart and in control he is, that's on one end of the spectrum. And then you've got Cindy, who's just a complete nut, loose cannon psycho. our heroes are going to be caught in between those two.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be some serious trouble. And yeah, with you, I was completely surprised about so many of these reveals with her.
Oh, yeah.
But what I found funny is like she turns out to be called Shiv, which they never actually say anywhere in this episode at all that I caught. It was just in the title. So
yes, I didn't catch it either. I was trying to sort of figure it out because, I mean, the only thing I can think of, she has those blades or whatever, and they feel or look very much like Shivs, like in prison. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking they were referring to. And then once I saw a few people posting, I kind of connected the dots that that's like actually her name. But I don't think they said it anywhere, or at least not yet. They may say it in part 2. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about it. There's a lot of points about her we're going to talk about throughout our talking points here. So let's move right into those. That's just our opening thoughts. Oh, yeah. Opening thoughts. All right, here we go. So first point, and this is a little bit random, but I really liked this opening montage where it showed each of the heroes kind of getting psyched up and into their day and really just high on life because they're super excited. They have a new purpose. And I think my favorite one of them was when Beth tells her parents that she's too busy to make them lunch. So go with me on this one. Her parents are so busy, they can't spend time with their only child now that she's a teenager, but it's okay that she'll make them like lunch and dinner because she has nothing better to do. Like they walked in there like expecting it, like, hey, where's our lunch? Like what jerks? Like, come on.
I just found it funny how they just both, tuck their head in the door. Where's lunch? We can't find it.
I know, right?
And she just brushed them off like, whatever, I'm busy. It was a funny scene. It was a neat little opening for all of them because they do all seem quite content, like something finally good happened for them. So yeah, it was cool.
Mm-hmm. So I really liked that. And then close to the beginning as well, we have the janitor run in with Cindy. Now, I thought this was interesting because, of course, we get this cryptic line from this man. There's not one book so bad that it has not something good in it. They're so random, like I have to write them down. I don't understand them, but he's got some crazy things that he says. Do you have any thoughts on what this might mean?
I wrote the same line down because I don't know if he's speaking in riddles or if that's some type of old dialect telling us how old he is just by the way he's talking, because it sounds like medieval times, right?
Right.
Kind of the way he speaks. And of course, later as we get to it, the sword. So he seems like a medieval type of character. So, and he's speaking like that. But then I was trying to wonder, is he trying to reveal some information or some clues with the things that he says? Or does this just lead all tie back to him being messed up in the head? Like I wonder if he got hit in the head so hard that he's now this simpleton kind of character.
I don't know. There's definitely something off about him. I mean, his comment about dragons in the water definitely could have been in direct reference to the Dragon King, or even direct reference to Cindy, who we now know is the daughter of the Dragon King. And then this one, the only thing I can think of is that he's trying to say there's some good in her, which we see at the beginning of this episode, but then she does a full 180 and just goes completely the other direction throughout the rest of it. So I'm not sure.
I like your correlation there that he could have been saying something about her that, she can't be so bad that there isn't a little bit of good in here. And yeah, we're going to talk about that because she does show it a little bit here when she's hanging out with Courtney. So we'll touch a bit more on that. So it's interesting. We don't know what this janitor is, and he comes again later in the episode, which we'll talk about. But at this point in the episode, we're just like, what is with this guy? And and Cindy was so mean to him and just runs into him and makes him knock over his mop, and along comes Courtney to help him out. And I think that meant a lot to him that somebody paid attention enough that he exists to even help him out. Yeah,
well, good news for her, as it turns out. So I've got a question, and we're going to throw this out now because I have no idea. It's after this scene that we follow him into his office. There's a sword in his office. To me, I'm not going to lie, it looks a little bit like Excalibur, but that's just me. What sort of sword is this? Do you know?
Well, I don't know. I'm calling it the sword and the broomsticks. What I'm calling. never heard of it. Have you ever heard of the Sword and the Broomsticks? I have no idea, but it's the only sword wielding hero that I have ever known of from the comic books is the Black Knight, but I'm pretty sure he's Marvel. So I don't know who this guy is. I've never heard of DC having a knight type character or sword wielding character. So now that there's a sword there and we do see him come save Courtney with it later in the episode, he's obviously somebody. Whether he was a member of the JSA, I don't know. I don't know the background of him. So hopefully he starts to reveal a little bit more, because he does come to her rescue. So either he's in disguise and knows what's going on all this time and he's just fooling everybody, or he is this, something's happened to his mind and he's a bit lost and he only jumped to action out of instinct because, of whatever former life he led. It was just instinctual for him to come to her rescue.
Yeah. I know we've got points on that later in our notes. I don't want to deviate too far down because we'd be jumping like straight to the ending. But
straight to the end. Yeah. All right. Well, let's bring it all back for now. Just put a pin on that point. Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit about Henry.
Yes. Okay. Henry's very obviously suffering from migraines, severe headaches. So it sounds like his powers are finally manifesting. And I'm wondering if maybe he'll be able to actually communicate with his dad in the coma. I think that would be super cool and devious. And so like in a way, Brainwave sort of passes on like his mission to his son, because they're finally, able to communicate in the only way that the two of them could communicate. I don't know. Thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, he heard Cindy coming this time when he was at his locker. He heard her, whatever she was thinking, and that leads through to all these scenes. And I have a feeling that with his powers developing, once he gets a bit of a handle on them, that might be what finally wakes Brainwave up. His dad, he might actually go in there and try to talk to him brain to brain, and that might bring his dad out of the coma.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting as well. Either if they could communicate while he's still in the coma, or if that's what ultimately wakes him up. I think either one of those would be really interesting developments, because he doesn't know right now. Like all he knows is that his dad would continually ask him to read his mind. So maybe he'll finally put two and two together and figure out that his dad's had these abilities the whole time. But yeah. Either way, it'd be interesting.
Let's just see how smart he is, because they had that scene with him in the classroom and he started hearing everybody thinking about their tests and he started, gleaming the answers from them. So it seems like he's starting to get an idea like, that I'm developing this ability. So we'll see what he does with it.
Yeah, I want to see what he does with it too.
Mm-hmm. Now, I loved another school scene. I actually was going to choose this as my favorite scene, but there's no dialogue in it. So
I wanted to choose it too, here. But there's no dialogue.
When our misfit heroes are walking down the hall to that great soundtrack, and it's all in slow-mo, and they're like the cool kids, and they're like, yeah, we run this place, and look how great we are. And meanwhile, nobody's paying attention to them. And then when the camera just speeds up, and I think it's Cindy that walks through and bumps them, it just breaks the whole sequence. And all of a sudden, they're just them. They're just the losers of the school. Nobody even notices them. But for them, it was such a cool moment. They just had this sense of pride and yes, we're here. It was such a good moment for them.
It was cool. I like that moment as well. I thought about picking it, but I was like, no one actually talks.
Yeah. There's nothing. It's just the song. So
yeah, exactly. Well, now this was an interesting twist I didn't see coming. It turns out that Cindy is actually a chemistry genius. So this is the first inkling we get that there's more to her than meets the eye. And so I literally wrote in here, because I was taking notes as I watched it the first time, wonder who her dad will turn out to be. And turns out it's the Dragon King. So I thought once you figure out it's the Dragon King, I think some of her comments maybe take on a little bit of a double meaning. I mean, he taught her all about science. That's very clear from a young age. I mean, he looped her into everything, which we come to find out later. But I think when she says, well, when your dad leaves everything open on purpose, and Courtney's like, what? And she's like, we did experiments for fun. And I was like, yeah. I mean, knowing what I know about you now, like I would think that you would think that was fun, but at the same time, like exactly what kind of experiments are you talking about? Like, I don't really think like doing this cloud experiment was something you did like all the time. Maybe when you were like 4, but.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is, I mean, she's the perfect example of what I was talking about last episode, that she is the villain that got raised by a villain, and she got raised in villainous ways.
Yes.
So she is the way she is because of that. And, you know, and I mean, she's also so dang self-centered. Everything is about her.
Yep.
Cross her once and she hates you for life. There's no forgiveness with her. It's just crazy. But this whole classroom scene, I'm almost wondering at this point, maybe Cindy just needs a friend. Maybe that's all it is, because when Courtney continues to approach her, it kind of diffuses her a little bit, and she actually starts to open up to Courtney and let her in just a little bit. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, she actually shares part of her family history with her. She shares some emotions. She shares some stories. And she then asks to hang out with Courtney on the weekend. So I'm thinking, what if all Cindy needs is just one friend that she can just be with and talk to? Because obviously that other girl that was the cheerleader squad girl, you know, the two of them are not friends. They were just the mean girl group. Yeah. But clearly they weren't actually friends. But Courtney came through from a different perspective and presented herself as a friend. And you saw it crack Cindy just for a moment, until later in the episode when Courtney says, "Hey, is it okay if I go to the dance instead of hanging out?" And then, like I said, boom, cross her once, she hates you for life. And that was it. That's the end of the possibility. Mm-hmm. So I had this thing about Cindy. She just needed a friend. Now it's too late.
Yeah, I definitely got the feeling that it's probably too late, but I also was thinking the same thing. Like in those earlier scenes, I was like, oh, I mean, maybe she just needs someone to tell her, hey, like, you're smart. Like, really, no, this is cool. Like, great job. Like, you know, she clearly didn't get a lot of that in her upbringing. So
yeah, that's another good point. Yeah, maybe she just needs someone to pat her on the back and you know, say some nice things about her. Yeah.
So, yeah, I was like, okay, this could be an interesting development. And then, you know, like you said, as it turns out, it doesn't work out. But
no. And then, I mean, we see this side of her, and then it comes right to this next scene when she gets home and her stepmom's there. And wow, whoa, do we see what kind of evil, nasty little bitch she is.
Yeah, I literally wrote in our notes, the way she treats her stepmom is bonkers. I like could not believe the way she was treating that woman. But then we learned a little bit more about what the stepmom, and I say what, like literally, like what she might actually be. So we'll get into this in a minute, but clearly we've kind of figured out a little bit who her dad was. I know once these scenes started and she like went back in the secret room, I was like, oh my God, her dad's the Lizard King or the Dragon King or whatever. I was like, this is crazy. So it's no surprise that the poor woman is terrified. But then as the scenes go on, we learn even more about what the stepmom potentially is. So I will stop there. But this was like the first like jaw-dropping scene for me.
Well, going back to when she first gets home and is talking to her like that.
Exactly.
I'm sitting there going, what parent would ever allow their kid to talk to them like that? Like, and holy cow, if anyone needs a slap across the face, it's Cindy right in that moment. Mm-hmm. And, you know, take her keys, take her phone, take her car, whatever. Like, she's grounded for a year with that kind of attitude. And, but then her mom shows fear and she's so scared of her, and Cindy just treats her like a slave in the house or something.
Well,
you know, like we're, you know, 50 years ago, and this is how they treated, you know, slaves like that. And I was like, holy crap. It was just crazy. Now, so for me, the questions, I'm like, what is going on in that house that allows this to happen? Mm-hmm. Why is she so scared of her? And yeah, and like you say, once she goes through the door, then we start getting answers trickling. And this is going to lead to a whole bunch of stuff. But at this point, she is the ultimate nasty. I've never seen such nastiness in a character. It's been a long time anyway.
I was pretty shocked. I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. This is like blackmail, extortion, like all at the same time. Like, I don't even know what's happening right now. It's very crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
crazy.
scenes evolve, and even though I've already said it, this is when we finally learn who Cindy's dad is. He's the Dragon King. And crazy twist, she not only knows about the ISA, like she has access to, she knows the password, she can access all of these like crazy underground tunnels. She's literally spying on one of the ISA meetings before her dad grabs her. And she's like, I need to be part of this. I want a seat at the table. I was shocked about that.
Yeah. Whoa. Like that took me off a bit as well. I was wondering who her dad is, but I didn't think him at all. And yet, now that we know, it was so obvious because he has a Japanese background. And if you look at her looks, you can tell that she's got a similar background. So we should have seen that coming because she portrays the physical, appearances that she would have some Japanese in her background.
Yep, exactly.
Should have saw it coming, but didn't.
Yeah. She other surprising things about her. She has no problem killing people in cold blood at all. And now we can debate what these, little figures that her father conditions, in his words, so to speak, like with the hoods on, little followers, whatever they are, they don't respond to her in any way. They're very like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain
mindless
it.
automatons is what it seemed like.
Yes, exactly. Like it was crazy. So crazy.
Oh, she's a piece of work, like to say the least. She's over the top, short fused. She doesn't even hesitate to slice that one guy's throat.
No.
Not even hesitates. Yeah, she is short fused. I don't think she even has a fuse. It's just, yeah.
No, I mean, the way that she acts in like his lair and kind of later in the episode, once she assumes her villainous persona, it makes me realize how much restraint she actually exercises on a daily basis. If you think about it.
Well, she's at school, yeah.
Yeah, and no one else knows like anything, so.
And for a moment there, the way she was talking about, I hate being up there and I hate having to live this life and what with all these kids. And I'm thinking, is she older than she actually is? Is she maybe not high school age, but she's just pretending to be to play whatever role it is she has? I was wondering about that. If she's not actually 15 like the rest of them.
I mean, there's a chance. I don't know.
Because she does kind of look older now when you look at her now. She does look like she's older than everybody.
Well, I'm sure the actress is. But it's confusing. We learned an awful lot about her in all of these scenes. I tried to cluster them all together. I don't know if they necessarily aired in this order, but let's just knock these all out now. First thing we learn, Cindy not only has powers that her dad acknowledges, we learn that she killed her mother by accident, apparently. So it's no wonder she's so messed up.
That took me a bit to make sense of that. Patty caught it a little sooner than I, and she made me rewind it. I'm like, what do you mean killed her by mistake, man? And then when I replayed, I was like, oh yeah, the way she says it does make kind of sense. Now, what kind of accident though? Like what she's practicing with her abilities, with her powers and killed her by accident? Or I don't know, maybe they'll unlock that a little bit more for us. But at this point, I was also going, what are her powers? I'm wondering, what are her powers? Because we don't know until Courtney stabs her in the face with the staff. We didn't know what kind of power she had yet.
No, yeah, we sure didn't. So yeah, I don't know. And I'm wondering now if the shivs, I thought they were under her sleeve, so it was difficult to tell if it was part of like a piece, like a weapon she was wearing, or if it was part of her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when those knives came out, they came out after she put on the costume, didn't they?
Not the first time. At this point, she's in her school clothes, and she whips one out and slices the dude's throat.
Yeah, you're right. Is that part of her?
But she's wearing long sleeves, so I don't know.
Yeah, that I'm not sure of yet. We'll have to see. I mean, if that was part of her, that'd be very Wolverine-like, and so we'll have to see.
Yeah, probably not, but we don't really know for sure. Also, another thing I wasn't expecting. Her dad's literally pulling the strings the whole time, like with Henry and everything. The whole reason she orchestrated that whole thing to get him to break up with Yolanda and start dating her was because her dad wanted her to keep tabs on Henry.
Okay, so do you think You think Dragon is running the entire ISA? You think Icicle is working for him?
No. No. I think he's pulling the strings of like her life. So he's the only reason she was dating Henry and that she caused all of that to happen with Yolanda and like ruin her life was so that she could start dating Henry. And that was at her dad's bidding. Her dad basically said, I need you to keep tabs on Henry King. I need you to tell me if his powers manifest, yada, yada, yada. Probably.
Okay.
Because he needs the intel for the ISA and for Jordan, I would imagine. I don't think he's running the ISA, but I definitely think that her and her dad are like in cahoots, if you will. And everything that she does, quote, above ground is in service of his mission.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a little more sense then. Cool. Yeah, I think he's still working for Icicle. I think Icicle's the ultimate leader.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, doing the New America project. So whatever Dragon is up to is to help get that project off the ground. So, yeah, interesting. Yeah, there was a lot that was said there. So it might be worth a second watching to kind of weave through all that info.
Yeah, well, it's not over yet. So she was an experiment, we learn. His most successful experiment, which is incredibly disturbing. And I'm going out on a limb here, but I'm guessing that's why he wants the bodies, why he wanted Zarek's body, and I'm assuming he gets all the dead bodies that, that people don't bury, like Sportsmaster buried and his wife, Tigress, buried the coach last episode. But
yeah,
that was crazy. And sorry, one final. So if she's the experiment, it also sounds like he's creating the stepmothers. Did you get that vibe? Everyone's an experiment.
Yeah. This is where it's a little confusing. That's why I'm going to have to go through it again. Okay. It was a shock for me that it sounds like she's one of the experiments. I'm not 100% convinced that she is one of the experiments. I'm wondering if she is his daughter, but he was experimenting on her to give her powers or whatever. I don't know if she was an ultimate result of an experiment, because are we saying that he's not like, the birth father? He just used one of the bodies to create her. I don't know what we're getting at with her being an experiment.
I think her powers are the result of the experiments is where I'm going, which I think is what you
but she's still legitimately his daughter.
I think she is legitimately his daughter. I think the result of his experiments gave her powers, and her experimentation with those powers killed her real mother. And we know he does some weird conditioning stuff with these hooded automaton people that follow him around. It also sounds an awful lot to me like he was also creating the stepmothers through a similar process.
Which would be why the stepmom seems so obedient and so concerned and, completely by the rules and by the book. And she just seems, because she was just over the top, Brady Bunch mom kind of thing, or Leave It to Beaver type of mom. And it's like, whoa, who is this lady? So it does kind of make sense that she might be one of his experiments, or at least under his influence or programming or whatever it is he's doing to these things. I'm sure we'll get more information as that gets revealed. But yeah, interesting stuff here. That really just blew open the floodgates of, wow, what is going on with Dragon King? Holy, there's a whole nother story going on here. And it's all underground.
Exactly.
And we'll get to that too. But
yeah, going back to 3 episodes ago when they first introduce him and talk about his machine, it's starting to make a lot more sense now. His machine, the satellite, and brainwave is all sounding an awful lot like brainwashing.
Yeah, which is what he's experimenting on these other people, because he's definitely got them brainwashed.
Sounds like it to me.
Interesting.
Whew, okay, so let's take a break from that and let's have a history lesson. Did this scene irk you because it drove me bonkers that Courtney kept interrupting? I'm like, actually, no, I'd like this recap. Can you just stop interrupting Pat? Because I need to hear it. But apparently she needs to learn how to be part of a team just as much as the rest of them do. That was interesting.
Yeah, this is what drove me nuts, because I was come on, writers. Last episode, she finally got it. We had our favorite scene last week where she, that great, wonderful scene, and she's finally realizing what Pat's been trying to help her with. And, she realized her dumb naiveness and just everything. It's like, they threw all that out the window this episode, and she goes off on her own. She forgets everything that she just agreed to with Pat. She's just being that stupid teenager again. I was like, is that the CW kind of dabbling in this? Like, come on. This is why I only gave it an 8. I could not give it a 9 because she just went off the rails. Like, everything that happened last episode didn't actually happen. I was like, oh, dang it.
That is true. That is true. Yes, that irked me a little bit. But I think that's literally all we really saw of the entire team this episode. Otherwise, it was all Cindy. I mean, it was mostly Cindy this episode, and Courtney, and a little bit of Courtney. So it was interesting. Which is okay. I mean, we needed this good backdrop for Cindy because now we understand her a lot more, why she is the way she's been. So, yeah, it was heavy. It was good though. Mm-hmm. Okay, so another little scene here with Cameron and his dad. I loved this when it's just very innocent scene. You know, he's talking to his dad, trying to work up courage to ask out a girl, and his dad tells this wonderful story about his mom, and then when he asks, he's like, "Well, what'd you do?" And he's like, "Oh, I killed him," and he just laughs, and I'm like, "Oh, buddy, he's not kidding. He probably literally killed him." Oh, so yes, I thought that was a very funny little scene that, you know, just went over his head. But I don't want him to be a villain. I'm coming back to it. He's so sweet and so cute, and I like him. I don't want him to be a villain. This is so coming around again later, but yeah, I don't. The point here is I don't think Icicle even wants him to be like him. He doesn't want Cameron to turn out like him or take part in what he's doing. I think Icicle is being such a great dad to him, and Cameron's turned out pretty good. He's sweet, he's innocent, he's a good kid, got good grades, he keeps to himself. He's a good kid, and that only comes from good parenting. Yeah. So Icicle has been good to him. I don't think he's going to lead him down the villain path. He's been keeping his son separate from that. Even though we saw his son have the cold breath, it doesn't seem like either of them know. So it's crazy. It is. So TBD on Cameron's story, but I really like him and I don't want him to be a villain. So I don't want him either. I don't think he will turn out to be. I hope not. All right. Other things I did not expect this episode, which seems minor in comparison to the reveals we get about Cindy. Really didn't expect that Mike would actually be jealous of Courtney spending time with his dad. I thought that was an interesting turn of events for that character. Yeah, he's still a bit too much for me, but I do understand why he's jealous because the age that he's at and being a young boy, you want to be with your dad. Your dad's cool. You want to have fun. You want your dad to be interested in you and teaching you stuff. And right now his dad's more interested in Courtney and what she's doing. And that can be really aggravating for a young boy that just wants to hang with his dad and joke around and whatever. And his dad's just not showing any interest in him right now. But it doesn't really sound like Mike wants to hang around with his dad. Like, he's like, yeah, don't come to the science fair. Like, oh, I'm going to go chill with my friends and work on video games. And, like, his dad likes to build cars. And he's more, he's more of a geek. He likes, like, video games and computer programming and all that sort of stuff. And his dad's more like a hands-on kind of guy, into cars and stuff. Yeah. I think they could eventually find a common ground, but I got the initial impression that they don't even have anything in common, and Mike didn't want to be around his dad, and now all of a sudden that he's interested in Courtney, he's kind of jealous about it for exactly the reasons that you stated. I mean, yeah, and stepkids, or step siblings, so you're not going to understand or forgive each other. You're going to hate each other easily. I can imagine. So I can imagine. So the ISA. Oh, yes. This is the part I've been waiting to get in. Is it just me, or do they have secret tunnels all around town? Because they seem to move around undetected an awful lot. And they showed us some crazy stuff this episode. So, what are your thoughts? Let's go. Let's break this down, because I'm telling you, I was so confused there for a minute or 5 or 10. Because this is the order. This is the way things happen. First, we see Cindy go down the stairs after being mean to her stepmom. And she passes Grundy in his cell and tells him to shut up. Yeah. Wasn't that supposed to be under the American Dream building? Because that's the last time we saw it. We last saw Icicle go in the American Dream, unlock a secret code, go down the stairs, and he says, "Hello, old friend," to Grundy in the same cell. And yet Cindy just did it walking down from her kitchen. I think all
Okay.
of these tunnels lead to the same place.
So then we see her snooping in on the ISA meeting. She's listening in, and she gets pulled away by someone, only to end up in the lair of the Dragon King. What? Okay, where's that connection? Okay. Then when Stargirl is sneaking around looking for stuff, she comes out of the tunnels into the school from behind some lockers. So what is going on here? And all I can conclude is the ISA has tunnels all over the town connecting everything.
Yep.
And that's how they keep hidden. That's how they're getting around. That's how they're in control of this town. And they can just pop up and disappear whenever they need to because of these secret tunnels, which is actually really cool because talk about having, you don't only have a villain's lair, but your lair is the entire underground of the city.
Oh, yeah. It's super cool. And yeah, that's definitely the impression I got. It took me a little bit to put some of the pieces together. But I mean, when she walked down and she walked past Grundy, I was like, oh my God, okay, there's got to be connections because she came in through her own house. Whereas, like you said, Jordan went in through the American Dream. So I think what they're not showing us is like the in between, you know, of like her, like, but they're all clearly going to the same place. So I think the Dragon King's lair, quote unquote, is just another offshoot of all these tunnels. So she goes down, she follows the same path, and she takes a a detour to kind of stop and listen in because she can hear they're having a meeting. And, you know, of course, she hears the name Stargirl, but then her dad figures out that she's there and pulls her back and pulls her over into his side of things, if you will, probably just a little further down the corridors, you know? I'm just imagining like a long tunnel and like the first place you go into, you go past Grundy, you go into their little meeting room, and then after that, there's probably his lair and who knows what else. So,
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I mean, that's where the confusion was, is because we don't know how things are connected. But obviously, the tunnels go everywhere, and only the bad guys know about it. But Courtney does know now because she followed a little bit of them. So
yeah, and
yeah,
so this is all leading up to ultimately like the fight with her and Courtney. So there's a lot of different things going on. We've kind of hopped around in the timeline, but basically where we are in the episode, Courtney's at the football game. She has the confrontation with Cindy, and then she notices Principal Bowen leaving, and she follows her. And that's when she discovers all these tunnels. She changes into her costume, does the whole thing. And then Cindy kind of leaves, I guess, because she's so frustrated with everything, and goes down trying to like find her dad, and ends up putting on the costume and then tracking down Courtney because she sees her in the tunnels.
Yeah, she's pissed off because her dad said to stay away from that costume. Like, don't go near that.
Yeah,
whatever he said. So
like she's not ready or something, I would guess. I mean, it's clearly for her.
Well, and that's what I was wondering. Was it someone's costume before, or did he build and design it for her for when she's ready? That's what I was wondering, because he wouldn't let her get it, and she kept looking at it, and then she just goes down there against his rule and just steals it.
This could go one of two ways. It could either be for her and he doesn't think she's ready because she is his, quote, greatest experiment, or it could have been her mother's.
Yeah, maybe.
So that's an option.
Maybe.
So we may be able to find that out. But the thing we learned about Cindy in this fight, which is pretty freaking crazy, she seems almost invincible. She completely regenerated after she got a full cosmic staff of God knows what in the face. Like, that's crazy. Also, she's much better trained than Courtney. Like, significantly better trained, because she's probably been trained from birth. How to fight.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And I think this is why I think she's a little bit older, because she's bigger, she's stronger. I think she might be a little bit older. I'm not sure, but definitely that's her power so far, is the regeneration. I mean, she took a staff shot to the face and regenerates immediately. So, holy cow, that is not good. And I like, who's training her? I don't know. What is she trained in? What type of fighting style? And who is training her? That are my questions right now. But she's definitely been at it for a while, and that's why she's so impatient, because she wants to just go do something. She wants to use her abilities. She thinks she's ready. So we'll have to see if she actually gets in trouble by her dad now, because I'm sure he's going to realize she took the costume. Mm-hmm. But we'll have to see. So yeah, that was it. That was crazy. I mean, she took Courtney by surprise from behind too, and then they had this amazing fight. It was a good fight, like a really good fight sequence.
It was,
and really well done. And Courtney just wasn't ready for that.
No, she definitely wasn't ready for that, which is why I'm hoping she learned something from it, because I'm 99% sure Cindy would have killed her if it wasn't for the janitor that came to her rescue.
Janitor to the rescue. Yep.
Yes. So I wasn't expecting this, which is super cool. I'm really wondering about that sword now. And the kicker at the end, when Pat comes rushing in, because eventually the staff goes and gets him, he recognizes Pat. So he had to have been a member of the JSA. So who was he? That is what I want to know.
Well, first off about the janitor, what this episode especially, and I was thinking back to every time we've seen him, he kind of reminds me of Stan Lee in all the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Always having these little cameos in all the different episodes. I just kind of laughed. But is he a hero? Or is he a sidekick? Or was he like he's got the sword and he obviously knows how to use it. Mm-hmm. But whatever's happened to him, I keep pulling on it that I think he's lost his mind. I think. But he did recognize Stripesy because he saw him and he said, Stripesy. Yeah. So could he be a hero that survived? Because I don't think he was there in the battle in the opening premiere. I don't remember seeing a guy with a sword.
I don't remember seeing a guy with a sword either.
So playing on the idea that he's maybe lost his mind, I'm wondering if he's a hero that went missing due to him losing his mind, losing his mentality. I wonder if he's gone missing and no one, because he's grown out the beard and whatever, nobody knows where he is because, like I said, he's a janitor now, unless he's in complete disguise and he's in hiding. And because you know what? And that could be a possibility because in this episode, we saw him looking in the mirror and he was kind of feeling his beard. Mm-hmm. And I think at that moment, I was like, is he going to shave it all off and reveal himself to be someone we should recognize, but we can't because of his disguise? Mm-hmm. So I'm all over the place with this guy.
I am too. I've thrown out so many different things. Last week, I definitely don't think he's a fiddler anymore. Definitely don't think he's a fiddler anymore.
No way. No, he's because he's got the sword. He's a different hero.
He's a different hero. Although one of my original guesses was that he is Starman.
Yeah, but Starman doesn't carry a sword.
He doesn't carry a sword, but the mental weirdness, I don't know. You never know. Maybe.
Yeah, I think the sword cancels out anything. And I'm sure there's a couple of our listeners that are going, come on, you guys. Sure. But it's somebody that we don't know. If I knew these older JSA characters better, then I probably would recognize them, but I don't know the old JSA characters. And he might not even be a JSA member. He's just
That's true.
He's could just be a hero that they worked with or that was a friend to the league. So I don't know, but he's definitely somebody. He definitely knows what he's doing. He came out of nowhere with the sword and then he put the sword right back in the broom basket. So that's why I think he's I don't know. See, he looked in the mirror at his beard.
He did.
So I think he's disguised and knows what's going on, but he's also wacky and weird. And I feel like he's acting out of instinct. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens in tomorrow's episode.
I know. Yeah. I don't know. I can't put a finger on it, but yeah, it's super fascinating at this point.
Yeah. I mean, the big issue that we're going to have to deal with first, which will probably be what most of the next episode is about, is Courtney's knocked out and I'm sure she's going to be in the hospital.
Yeah. So my ending question is how is Pat actually going to explain this? How do you explain to Barbara that your daughter was in some weird accident, the minute you leave town? I'm just sitting here trying to go really, how does he explain this without Barbara being I'm never leaving again and you're never going to be in charge for the rest of your life?
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, possibly, what could Pat possibly say that explains why she's knocked out?
Yeah.
But here's the catch. Barbara's out of town for a couple of days, so maybe Courtney will be okay by the time she gets home.
I don't know.
And they don't have to tell her everything.
Maybe.
Could be. So that could be one scenario, but if she shows up and Courtney's still in the hospital, then yeah, good luck, Pat. What are you going to do? But he also screws up because he goes running into the gym yelling Courtney's name. While Shiv is still there.
I know.
And she sneaks out without him seeing, but now she knows who Stargirl is. Mm-hmm. I mean, so I was like, okay, Pat, you just screwed up. But then again, I was like, you know what? It actually shouldn't be that hard to figure out because if you look at Stargirl and you look at Courtney, her hair is a dead giveaway. Her smile, her voice, even her eyes is a dead giveaway. She's not actually truly in disguise at all. So if Cindy was any hint of intelligent, she would figure it out anyway. But she now knows for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah. And speaking of not disguising, Cindy doesn't disguise herself literally at all. No mask.
No, her
nothing.
face was completely covered. Yeah, or not covered. Yeah.
That surprised me.
So does that mean there's no mask for that outfit, or she just didn't care? She was so pissed off at that point, she didn't care.
I don't know. Like, I'm kind of shocked by that. I'm like, you assume that Stargirl is someone at your high school, and you don't, there's no mask to speak of. That just seemed off to me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's because there's no mask or if it's because she doesn't care. I have no idea.
She doesn't care. She obviously doesn't care. I think she's lost her control. She's pissed off, frustrated. She's had enough. She's impatient. She doesn't care. But what does that do now going forward? Because she knows who Stargirl is. Stargirl knows who she is. Are they just going to go to high school together again and act like during the day everything is just fine? Or is Shiv / Cindy now going to leave school?
I don't know.
Because she's tired of being up there in that world, the way she said it to her dad.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I definitely foresee a confrontation coming and definitely repercussions of her stealing that suit. Her dad's going to be pissed.
Yeah. But we are getting a part 2 to this story, so I guess.
True.
There's a lot of answers coming, hopefully.
Yeah, so answers tomorrow. Or tonight, I guess, if you have time to watch it. I don't.
Yeah.
I think that brings us to the end of our notes. Is there anything we didn't touch on that you want to talk about?
No, I think that is good. I'm excited for our favorite scenes this time. So let's get into that.
Shape out and eagle!
I'll let you go first. Yours is right in the beginning of the episode.
It is. I was picking back through this one, and I really just struggled with picking a Cindy scene because they're so dark. So I went back to one of the few lighter ones that I could find, and it's when Pat and Courtney are discussing driving lessons.
Yeah, here it is.
Dad!
I'll take care of it, and training begins after school. Hey, buddy.
Training for what? Oh, are you making Courtney get a job too? She can actually have mine. Miss Hawkins, she likes her paper on the front porch swing and look out for the cat. It's adorable, but it's a help beast.
No job for me, young one. Pat's just helping me
With
learn
her
to drive.
homework. Well, what I mean is it's more like a driver's ed class, you know?
Well, less of a class and more of a hands-on experience, right? Because the only way to really learn how to drive is to just do it.
Actually, you're not right, because you're not just going to jump behind the wheel of an automobile without learning a few fundamental rules. That's a good way to get yourself and everyone you love killed.
Jeez, Dad.
Yeah, learning to drive serious business, Mike.
Please tell me you're not teaching Mike how to drive.
Mike, no.
Nope, just Courtney if she doesn't kill everyone.
I know you don't like Mike, but some of his puns, one-liners are just too funny.
No, that scene was good. I liked how him and his dad had a rhythm. He kept sliding stuff across the table to him right in the middle of the whole conversation. So it was kind of funny.
It was hilarious. He grabs his bowl, grabs his cereal. It was great.
Grab the milk. Yep, exactly. Pretty funny. All right, the one I went with, you started talking about it, and I wanted to save a little bit of that discussion for here. It was the scene with Cameron talking to his dad, a.k.a. Icicle, about girl advice, because I'm tooting Icicle's horn. He is a good dad, and this scene proves it, even though he wasn't lying about, I killed her. But anyway, here's the scene. We'll talk about it after.
Hey.
Everything all right? Cameron, what's going on?
Homecoming dances tomorrow. There's this girl I want to go with. I just don't know how to ask her.
When you really like someone, it's never easy. Like when I first asked your mother out.
You had trouble asking Mom out?
Well, I had competition. There was another man pursuing her.
So what'd you do?
I killed him. I first saw your mother in Trafalgar Square in London. Every day we would eat lunch in the same park. She would sketch and I'd watch her. When I finally got up the courage to speak with her, she showed me page after page of the most amazing drawings she'd made. Of me.
So she liked you too?
Yeah. She was just waiting for me to approach her. You know, maybe this girl of yours, she's also just waiting for you to ask her.
Yeah. Maybe.
Hey. You were put on this earth to find love. Don't let anything stop you from trying.
What about you, Dad? Mom would want you to be happy.
I am happy.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing to that scene, but it is such a great scene between the two of them. And I don't think we've had a villain have this much depth ever.
No, he is pretty great. And I like him a lot. I noticed his accent shows a little bit in that clip. So I was doing some sleuthing on IMDb while that was playing. But
what's the actor's background?
he's English.
Okay.
So yeah, you could tell on the her, it slipped out a little bit, and I dug down the rabbit hole, and apparently he was on Westworld.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Cool.
He's credited.
Oh,
I figured who he was.
He's just so good. And just giving him a story, like just letting him tell us the story about how he met his wife, which is what it just ties in everything about him, why he's dreaming about her still all these years later, why he loved her so much. It's really sucking you into how powerful of a story we are getting for this villain. And there's, like I said, I don't think we've ever had a backstory like this. Maybe Slade Wilson kind of thing, but it's awesome.
It is. I mean, it's heartbreaking in a lot of ways, but then like you think about who he is and what he's done. Oh God, it's hard, but he's good.
Yeah, and the fact that he tells Cameron, he says, "You've been put on this earth to find love. Mm-hmm. Don't let anything ever stop that."
I know.
What villain says that? What villain says, "Go find love and be happy"? Like villains don't care about that, but
I know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I know it's crazy. It's super crazy, but.
Well, let's get into feedback and see what our friends have to say, our feedbackers.
Feedback.
Planetary powers, activate!
All right, I will let you take this one tonight. It's another email from our friend Dreamweaver. Yay. What does she have to say?
Hello again, Flash and Harley. Being able to just binge watch a few episodes has its perks, but now we're back to waiting a week for each episode to premiere. I know.
Yeah, we're going to feel that too.
Yeah. I'm giving this one a 7.5 Bucket ASA members out of 10. We got more of Cindy's background and a great fight scene, but I'm lowering it mostly because of Courtney's bad decision making.
Yes, I feel you there.
That first scene with Pat and Courtney's conversation about driving was a great little dialogue, double meaning scene. And it was very similar to their conversation in the garage the previous episode when they were talking about the team being inexperienced, which made me laugh. Right off the bat, Cindy is just the worst again. Just awful. But we finally learn a bit more. Her dad's the Dragon King, and apparently she's one of his experiments? What the heck? No wonder she's the way that she is. Yeah, the understatement of the year. When Pat is showing the team his ISA for their training, the music that is playing is a remix sampled version of the opening music from 2001, A Space Odyssey. I thought that was a cool little tidbit there.
Holy, good catch. Wow. I didn't catch that.
I did not catch that either, but that is very cool. But then I found it a little strange that in the previous episode, Courtney wanted the JSA to act like a team when they were trying to take down the gambler and was annoyed when they weren't. Then in this episode, turned around and acted like she was the only person on the team. Yes. I know she hasn't been one to listen to advice much, but now she's ignoring her own. And then the rest of the team just disappeared for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, I hear you. This is same reasons why I notched it down a couple too.
Yeah. The school has a secret lair or labyrinth. That's pretty neat. However, I was slightly confused if they were trying to allude that the Dragon King's lair was under the school, as how they cut Cindy going there during the pep rally and then transforming into Shiv and immediately being at the school made it seem as though the Dragon King's lair was at the school. However, earlier in the episode, we see it at Cindy's house. Just a confusing edit? I think so.
Yeah. That's what we were trying to break down. So although we saw Stargirl come out of the tunnels into the school, so unless everything's really close together in the town, we really haven't seen a full town perspective.
This is a small town.
Yeah. So maybe the school's close to the American Dream building. Maybe... maybe she lives nearby. Maybe Icicle's house is nearby. I'm not sure, but I think what they're missing is showing us the connections right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
And then the Stargirl versus Shiv fight scene. The homecoming lights being activated in the auditorium during the fight was cool, but for a second, I thought the staff was going to hit the DJ station too, and a song from Grease was about to start playing. That would have been pretty funny. Seeing as how the fight ended, that probably would have ruined the mood. And the color palette itself during the fight was great. The red, pink, and blue lights. The red and blue is a running color palette throughout the show, obviously an allusion to Stargirl's colors, and I'm pretty sure it's the school's colors. It's a nice extra thematic touch on the filmmaker's part.
Ah, here's the filmmaker and her coming out in her feedback. Cool.
Things I would never notice.
I'm with you.
We're getting...
With her, not with you, Harley.
I was like, oh, that's odd. We're getting more answers about the janitor as well, and I'm enjoying the scenes with Icicle and his son a lot. Every conversation scene with them seems to be pretty poignant, and yet you can see a lot of emotional depth. Yet Icicle is still such a cold-hearted killer. Right? It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the next episode as we see the repercussions of Courtney losing the fight and discovering that Cindy is a bit more than just a high school mean girl. Until next time, your friend, Dreamweaver.
Awesome, Dreamweaver. Yes, I'm feeling everything that you're feeling. The bit of frustration, but the excitement at some of the cool stuff they did this episode.
Yes, some very excellent points.
Good. Yes, great to hear from you again. Glad to have you with us. Next up is X-Force 11.
Hello, legends, and welcome to the Golden Age for Stargirl, Episode 7, Shiv, Part 1. Man, oh man, what an episode that dealt with the Injustice Society and the beginning of the Injustice Society 2.0. So much information about Cindy and her dad, and that was so cool. But I've been telling you all these episodes to watch the janitor. And tonight we got just the info that we needed. We see in his janitor's closet, we see horses, we see a chalice, we see a knight on a horse on his cap, we see his name is Justin, and we see in his mop bucket a sword. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is none other than Sir Justin, the Shining Knight, and maybe somewhere around is Winged Victory. His horse, he is a master of combat arts, and he has enhanced armor and a sword, and seems like he's got some memory issues, but he recognizes Stripesy, and he also recognizes the Cosmic Staff. So, very interesting. I cannot wait to see how this progresses. All right, those are my thoughts. X-Force 11 is out.
It was Excalibur.
Well, I don't know, because Sir Justin.
No, I did some quick Wikipedia-ing.
But anyway, X-Force, because I didn't know who this character was, but the Shining Knight, okay, that's cool. I don't know who that is, never heard of him before, so I will have to look him up. I did the picture of the horse. He was kind of caressing that picture. I was like, oh, he's longing for his horse. He must miss his horse.
Yes.
there was something I didn't catch the chalice. That's
I
interesting.
did.
I'm gonna have to look for that again.
That's why I thought it was Excalibur.
Yeah, okay.
Because there was a holy grail, there was a sword. He was very intrigued by the horse. So I didn't know exactly who Sir Justin was, but according to Wikipedia, he's the newest member of the Knights of the Round Table in King Arthur's court. So I was halfway there.
Interesting. So he's been around a while, I guess. I'll have to look up on the Wikipedia, see what it says all about him. But yeah, he's definitely, I am with Jeff though. He's lost something, whether it's his mind, his memory, something is up, but he did come to the rescue in the end. So, okay, Shining Knight. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see if more comes of that character now.
Also, this is very random. Legends did not make up the name Perdegaton. I'm fairly certain we made a lot of fun of it. It's referenced in this dude's Wikipedia article.
Oh, well, that's a weird connection.
When the JSA and the squadron were captured by the time-traveling villain Perdegaton.
Huh.
Crazy.
Wow.
Sorry. It's a weird name, and it jumped out. So, anyways.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Awesome, Jeff. Well, I'll look it up, but maybe you can fill us in a little bit more. It seems like you know a lot about the Shining Knight. I have never heard of him before. Let's move on to Kerry Johnson, and he says, we finally got some insight into what turned Cindy Burman into the wicked bitch of Blue Valley. And you guessed it, it's tied to a terrible adult. She's been the subject of experiments. She's been told to stay in her place. She's been co-opted to play a vital role in the Injustice Society's plans by basically spying on Brainwave Jr., but she hasn't been given a seat at the ISA table. Does that sound familiar? Sounds like the story of Anakin Skywalker to me, and we know how that turned out in the short term. Ooh, I love that connection, Carrie.
That's a good one.
Then she has a run-in with Justin the janitor, who says there's no book so bad that it is not something good in it. It has me wondering, is he talking about Cindy? Yeah, we wondered that too. Mm-hmm. For a brief instance with Courtney in the lab, during the invite over to her house and the brief bit of genuine disappointment she had when Courtney changed her plans, we see that there is a bit more to Cindy than just the mean girl. Maybe there is some good in her that will be revealed eventually. We'll see. Also, we got a lot more insight into Justin the janitor. Not to spoil too much, but the sword, the dragon reference last episode, the goblet, and the horse figure on the table, and the majestic horse calendar all point to something, right? I guess he knows as much as X-Force does. You can spill the beans now, Carrie. What do you know about Mr. Shining Knight? Because
listen,
maybe we'll just learn from you guys. Stray observations. The fight between Cindy/Shiv and Courtney was badass. She handed Courtney a pretty damn good beatdown. Also, Cindy's Shiv gear looks awesome, and her fire staff is pretty cool. Yeah,
that's cool.
I wonder what she was carrying there. She's got a few things going on there. If I had some sort of mental powers in high school, using them to cheat on a test would be high on my list too. Yeah. Courtney goes running for the staff in the morning with the same level of excitement I have when I'm checking the social media feed on my cell. Oh no, Carrie. Oh boy. Yolanda needs to use her hips more when she's throwing punches. Ah, that seems like some boxing knowledge. Yeah. It's fun seeing Beth with an AI friend who's just as quirky as she is. Maybe there were signs that Mike was becoming upset with Courtney for stealing attention away from he and Pat, but I'll be honest, I'd care more about that if I actually liked Mike's character. He's still in the annoying afterthought stage.
Oh, poor Mike. I don't mind him that much.
Thank you, Gary. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that teaching someone to drive was a monumental issue. To be honest, don't they still teach that in driver's ed? Yeah, well, if one of your parents is teaching you, that can be a very stressful situation.
Yes.
I love Grease. Even though I think Grease 2 is a decidedly more fun movie and tells a better story for women, I say all that to say it was really cool to see that Grease is the Word was their theme for the dance.
Yes.
Wow, did that go right over me? I completely didn't notice that.
Oh, yeah. Grease was definitely the theme for the dance.
Okay. Seeing our heroes with their iconic slow motion walk down the school hall was perfect until, of course, Cindy Burman barrels through. It perfectly symbolizes this episode. She's there to bust their asses.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know much about the actress Meg DeLacy other than she can sing. So I'm wondering how much of her own personality is in this role and how much of this is real acting. Meg DeLacy, is she Cindy?
You keep reading. I will look.
I'm guessing because that's his very next point. So
she is.
Okay, Cool. I like Courtney's shirt. Empowered women shine brighter. Yeah, that was a cute shirt.
Yes.
I wonder what Justin's quote at the end, until death, it is all life, means. Yes, that was a good line.
Yeah, it was.
Until death, it is all life. Yeah, what is he getting at there?
I mean, he's not wrong.
Again, he's talking like a medieval knight would.
Exactly. That's because he is a medieval knight.
It's so funny. Here's a totally bizarre random thought. What if the Injustice Society's plan is actually great for the world? It's just the means by which they create the plan is heinous. Well, that's what I'm saying. Icicle is not really that bad a guy. He just thinks his plan is the best one to make the world safe. So who knows? We often say the ends don't justify the means, but if you legitimately had a plan that was going to pave the way for a better tomorrow, and I'm just hypothesizing that their plan will do so, is it worth it to commit to that plan by any means necessary? Anyway, I give this episode 8 prison shivs out of 10. See you guys next time.
He was with me at the prison shiv.
Yeah, it's a good argument. It's a great debate, a great topic to debate about does the ends justify the means with the way the bad guys are doing it? Because, I don't know.
Yes, it does. It oddly enough draws a lot of parallels to our modern day world and the state we're in.
Exactly. All right, excellent thoughts as always, Carrie. We move on to Patty's Pivot.
Hey, Flash and Harley, it is Lisa calling in. So, episode 7, I guess I got what I wished for. Hey, I asked for a backstory on Cindy, and holy dang, we sure got one, and a little more. I actually do like that they kind of took their time with it, though, and didn't give it to us right away, because we got to see Cindy, be the mean girl, be the monster, be this awful person, but we also kind of got to see her almost reach out. Like, it's like she wants to be normal and wants to be friends, like when she wanted to hang out with Courtney. Could you imagine if Cameron hadn't asked Courtney to the dance, if Cindy and Courtney would have hung out on Saturday night? Oh. I don't even imagine what they would have talked about. And oh my gosh, if Courtney would have said like, hey, which, JSA thing do you want? And offered something to Cindy, that would have just been absolutely a whole different direction for the show. But Cameron asked Courtney to the dance, so I guess that's the way we're going to go now. I'm curious about what Cindy's deal is. Like, is she super power person somehow? Like, I remember when we first saw Dr. Ito, he said he was working on his daughter. So I wonder what he's actually doing to her. Is he training her, or is he like modifying her body in some way? And also, does she have those scary sleeve blades at school? She's just a total awesome teenage supervillain. I just think she's going to be so scary for Courtney, and I think it's going to be even worse than the whole ISA, Injustice Society. Yeah, ISA. The other thing I kind of laughed at, Dr. Ito trying to make Cindy like not join in and calm down, wait. And Pat's doing the same thing with Courtney. So they're like two dads kind of having the same problem with their daughters. I thought that was super funny.
That's so true.
Parallel. Why does Cindy not wear a mask? Anybody? Just wondering on that one. And then, the janitor, we finally are getting more glimpses of the janitor. So, like, if I had a medieval sword, I'd not keep it in a mop bucket in the closet, just saying. But I guess he's just super bizarre. Like, there's so many confusing things about him. Do you guys know what character has a sword? Like, he seems like he's on a different show. So I'm really interested to find out what he's going to be. When he spoke, he was Irish. So I was thinking fiddler, but obviously not, because it's not a fiddle, it's a sword. So hopefully we'll find out some more this week. Things are really shaping up to explode, I think, pretty soon. So anyway, that's me. Looking forward to the podcast, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Well, what I don't get with you guys, what is it? Because they're Irish, they automatically have to play a fiddle? I don't understand that connection.
Someone at one point said the fiddler was Irish.
Okay.
Pat did, I believe, that's why we all jumped to that conclusion. It was probably intentional misdirection on the writer's part.
you got your answers about the Shining Knight, so we all did. So thanks for other feedbackers for that. And then she had a cool point about the whole what if scenario. If Cameron didn't ask her out and she actually went and hung out with Cindy, where could that have led to?
Who knows? Hopefully
that is
not her offering her a spot in the JSA, but knowing Courtney, she probably would have.
She probably would have, yeah. Like what?
So very fortunate that didn't end up happening.
Oh, yeah. That's a mind blowing idea to even think about. And then yeah. And as for Cindy not wearing a mask, I think it's just she was just too pissed off to even give a damn. If there even is a mask, she wouldn't care anyway at that point.
Probably not.
So I'm curious what's going to happen now when they're back at school the next day. Well, no, Courtney's knocked out, so I guess eventually once she comes to and they're back at school together, what's going to happen?
It's at least a weekend, so because homecoming's usually on a Saturday, so the game would have been on that Friday night.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks, Patty. Last one is Bianca.
Hey, Flash and Harley, it's Bianca with my feedback for Season 1, Episode 7 of Stargirl. I loved the opening of this week's episode. Everybody was so happy. Courtney and Beth and Yolanda and Rick. And we even got a smile out of Rick today. A smile. He's making a teeny bit of progress.
We did.
And they even had a small, very short team walk moment in school. That was nice. Until, of course, Cindy comes along and just bulldozes her way through and plows right into Justin the janitor. And he says something about, there's not a book so bad that it doesn't smell sweet on the inside or is sweet on the inside. I didn't write it down this time. But that was interesting. And then, Cindy throws his mop on the floor and Courtney comes and picks it up and hands it to him. And he says, thank you, m'lady. So when he said m'lady, I kind of threw out my suspicion out the window, but more on that later. And then we get to see a little bit more of Henry Jr. in class, and his powers are definitely not a fluke, but they're definitely coming in spurts or waves, and realize that, hey, they're good for something. Cheating on a test you didn't study for. Typical.
Yeah.
And then we get to see a nice set of clues here for Justin the janitor in his closet. Winged horses on his calendar, and it's also on his hat. And then, as the camera pans away, you see a sword. A very nice looking sword. That sealed it for me. The way he talked, his demeanor, I put it together that Justin the janitor is none other than the Shining Knight. My only knowledge of this character actually comes from the Justice League Unlimited cartoon. If you look at the Facebook post for this episode's live feedback in the group, I believe Jeff posted the wiki entry for Shining Knight, but he has a lot of interaction on Justice League Unlimited with the Vigilante, voiced by Nathan Fillion. So you can get a teeny bit of quick info. You could probably, search Shining Knight Justice League Unlimited on YouTube and see a whole bunch of clips.
You said Nathan Fillion. That's all I need to hear.
And came in and saved Courtney's butt at the end of the episode, just in the nick of time, like a knight in shining armor would do. And he remembered that.
That's right.
So
True.
We'll see how things go from here. Since now he knows that Stripesy is in town. The training that Pat tried to put together for the kids was a very, very nice attempt. I really enjoyed his homemade dummies. I am just sad that Courtney took it upon herself to show off and not really allow the other kids time to chime in, and then took down all the dummies. Not cool, Courtney. Not cool. And I'm glad that each of her teammates said something to her individually. She needed to hear it. She needs to start thinking not just for herself, but for her teammates. It's not just her anymore. There are consequences for her actions for her teammates. That's just how it goes. The other notable thing here at the football game was Mike going off on Courtney about Pat, saying he's my dad, not your dad. I don't know if that was he just couldn't take all the inside conversations between Courtney and Pat, and he just blew it and let it all out, or what. I'm not sure. Then again, I can kind of see, he doesn't really want to keep pushing Pat away. He doesn't have a mom. Well, his birth mom. And so it's just him and Pat, for a long time. And now it's, Barbara and Courtney. And he probably doesn't really want to give up all that quality Pat time that he had. And now it's split between Courtney and Barbara and him. And it's probably all new. And probably takes a lot of getting used to. So hopefully this was, just an outburst that, maybe caught him off guard too. And maybe he'll apologize, but I don't think. The ISA has freaking tunnels and access points all over Blue Valley. They have them in the school. They have them under why can't I remember the name? The America place where Barbara works. Down there. Cindy's house has access to, her father's lair, which leads right into tunnels and then the IA layer, the ISA layer. I'm sorry. So who knows where else they could be? Everybody's house who is part of the ISA could probably have access to the tunnels that go to the ISA layer. Very possible. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're just in random places, and who knows? Maybe we'll see some more. I wouldn't be upset with that. And then let's talk about Cindy. Her stepmom seems to be for show only. Yeah. She has no real problems in bullying her and pushing her over. And she said to her stepmom, do you need to be disciplined again? So I'm not quite sure what's going on. Other than I do think the wig is fake. Her hair is fake. It's a wig. I don't know if she was picked or brainwashed, by Dr. Ito or what, but I assume the mother figure is just for show, for public, in case people come over or for school functions, things of that nature. But yeah, and I think we got confirmation that when Cindy was younger, she killed her mother. I'm not sure if it was from these knives or sword blades or whatever you want to call them that come from her wrists. Apparently it was an accident. Her father likes to bring it up, though, saying, she's not ready. And it was an accident, and apparently she killed her first stepmother as well. And then we find out that her relationship with Henry is all fake. Her father put her up to it. So she has no real interest in Henry. And kind of knew it. I mean, she doesn't want to be there. The beginning of the episode when she went to go see him at the hospital, she kind of rolled her eyes and scoffed under her breath and, just was all fakey. And I think she just would rather hope that, he has no powers. So she doesn't have to be with him anymore because he's boring now. But yeah, we'll see. And one last thing is, towards the end of the episode, after Courtney was saved by the shiny knight, you can hear Pat in the background, who's following the staff. The staff is like a dog, like Lassie, come, help down the well. But, Courtney's passed out in the gym. And he's shouting Courtney's name, and I'm like, oh God, no. Stop using her name. I'm sure Cindy heard that, and yeah, that's not good. Pat. Oh. That's about it. My rating for this episode is 7.75 bright, shiny swords. That's it for now. See you guys next week. Bye.
I think you and me are the only two that didn't know who Shining Knight was, it seems.
Probably.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, she brought up a good point too about the staff. I forgot that when Courtney was knocked out, the staff actually went looking for Pat, which is awesome. And yeah, totally right out of any Walt Disney family movie. You know, it's like, follow me, I'll lead you to the trouble.
Timmy fell down the well.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, pretty cool. Awesome, Bianca. Lots of thoughts there. Lots of fun stuff. I'm glad you're enjoying it. That's it for our feedback, guys. So anyone else out there wants to become part of our feedback and crew, you can do so by listening to this.
If you would like to be part of the show, you can send in feedback to tomorrowslegends@gmail.com, spelled with one R. You can also reach us on Twitter at Tomorrow's Legends, also with one R. Join our Facebook page at facebook.com/groups/Tomorrow's Legends and become part of the community.
And just like that, Harley, we are caught up.
We're caught up. Yay.
We are. Official regular schedule begins this week.
It does. And y'all, I probably can't watch live because 8 p.m. is bedtime for my daughter. But I will try to start it not too long after live. So I'm going to be watching along on the Tuesday CW feed.
Yeah, I'll be catching Tuesday night. So our regular schedule, get feedback in by Thursday at 7 Eastern, and that should be good. Because we'll be recording Thursday nights from here going forward, and yeah, that'll be it. So it's going to be strange. We crash coursed this thing like crazy to catch up, and I'm going to be itching to watch Stargirl, and now like
we gotta wait.
A couple of our feedbackers said we gotta wait. Oh.
I know. But that's good. It'll let us get back to our families.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, yeah, we got a couple episodes to watch together as well. So awesome. Well, yeah, we'll talk to you guys on Thursday this week. So thanks for being with us. Thanks for all the great feedback. This is The Flash signing off.
This is Harley Quinn. I'm out.
Tomorrow's Legends is not affiliated with CBS, Warner Brothers, or the CW. We're a fan-made podcast for entertainment purposes only and are part of the Cybercast Network.